Greetings and welcome. This is Rajiv Makni, and I think you all know where I am. There's been so much I've been doing all across news. So I'm here at Apple Park, or thereabouts. The Apple event just got over. Lots and lots of new things out there. Of course, the Apple iPhone 14, all the 4 phones that have come out. We'll discuss all 4 here on the show. I'll do hands-on reviews of each of them, tell you which one has what's my opinion on each of them. AirPods Pro 2 came out. I'll give you my opinion. Pretty interesting. The watches, of course, we'll talk a little bit about it, but do watch the Gadget 360 show for all details and my opinion on that. Then we'll talk about a Redmi phone. We'll do a comparison between Nothing, Vivo and OnePlus. So lots of things happening on this show. I don't think we should talk anymore. Let's just get started.
So let's take a look at the new iPhone.
So let's start off first with the iPhone 14. So 4 new phones, the mini has been retired, the Plus comes in instead, and the Pro continue. Lots and lots of minor incremental changes. There's nothing, that there's another earth-shaking something, don't expect that. First and foremost, let's talk about the 14 and the Plus. Now the Plus is a very interesting phone. By far the biggest battery life now on any phone. That means better than the 14 Pro Max also. So that's the interesting part in that. A nice big screen. So it's a great phone at that price point that it's coming 10,000 rupees more than the 14. So I think it's very, very interesting. First, let's take a look at my hands-on review back at the event. 14, and now it comes up with a Plus version. So quite a few things, including car crash detection it can do. Satellite linking has come in all the iPhones, so may not really be here in India. We don't know how it's actually going to work, but it is a big deal eventually. When it does come, I think it's going to make a very, very big difference. So this is the 6.7-inch Plus version, which I think is great. Looks fantastic, gives you the Pro feel of a big screen.
Apple's yearly refresh cycle is kicking things up a notch this year with the iPhone 14 series. It's 4 new phones yet again, but not in the avatar you are used to. Yes, the iPhone mini is gone, but instead, Apple fans get a plus-sized iPhone 14 that is bound to appeal to users who prefer things max size. First up, there's the iPhone 14. It might look the same, but there's a lot more going on here under the hood. The iPhone 14 and the 14 Plus both are powered by the same A15 Bionic chipset that came last year on the iPhone 13 series. The former has a 6.1-inch screen while the latter gets a large 6.7-inch screen, the same size as the iPhone 14 Pro Max. However, the big change this year is the focus on imaging and safety. To start with, the iPhone 14 series includes a powerful new camera system with upgraded sensors. There's a new 12-megapixel primary camera and upgraded telephoto sensor as well. Apple's updated Photonic Engine Imagine Enhancement software suite promises stunning photos and videos. But the real upgrade lies at the front, where the phone now has a 12-megapixel front-facing camera with autofocus capabilities. Meanwhile, the phone gets a new dual-core accelerator that can detect G-force measurements of up to 256 Gs to detect differences in movement, car profiles, and accurately gauge if you have been in an accident. The phone can then call up emergency services to get you the support you need. Additionally, Apple is reaching for the stars with its satellite-based emergency SOS service. Exclusive to Apple users in the US and Canada, the service will let your iPhone connect directly to a satellite and beam through a message to emergency service in case you are lost or stranded without cellular connectivity. In addition, the service can also be used to share your location with friends and family members using Find My. Apple has added an additional color to the lineup for a total of 5 finishes, and buyers can choose between Midnight Blue, Starlight Purple and a product red version of the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus.
Okay, now let's talk about these two phones. So the 14, first and foremost, I would say The design is the same, the notch remains, the A15 Bionic chip is still the old one. So in many ways, this is a little bit more disappointing than I had expected. There are some changes, but they are again very, very incremental. These are more algorithm based, or, a new gyro has been put in. Car crash detection, as you saw, is something very, very interesting that they've put in this. So there are a few things they have put into it. The satellite part of it, the US only eSIMs, which may be bad news for those people that actually want to buy a phone from here in the US, get it cheaper, may not work back in India. But there's nothing in the hardware other than maybe a slightly better aperture f1.5 that they have out there, which will just, even if you don't care about these things, it'll just give you better photography. But other than that, I think I'm not really seeing anything compelling. In fact, I think now at about under 50,000 rupees, the 13 series is looking absolutely fantastic. Now let's move on to the Plus. Now here's a phone that makes sense to me. Awesome battery life, big screen, and everything else that the 14 has. Again, the Bionic chip and everything else, not the greatest, but I still think this is worth it. Now let's take a look at my hands-on review of the Pro series. The iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max. So more or less everything is now changed. This has been a big change. The look almost the same. The colors have dynamically changed. 48 megapixel is now the sensor. That's the big deal. The notch is a whole different thing that has gone away now. You see that notch that used to be out there? It's gone. They've now got an island out here, dynamic island. Completely and absolutely changes the way you actually look at the pill. Notifications, other such things that are coming in from third party, very intelligent what they've done with it out here. Now this is a super bright phone. 2000 nits brightness out in the sun, which makes it, I think, the brightest phone in the world. Again, also the most powerful with the A16 Bionic chip. So lots and lots of big changes, including the always-on display on this one.
While the iPhone 14 sounds amazing, wait till you see the upgrades on the iPhone 14 Pro. The phone is maxing out its capabilities with an all-new pill-shaped cutout that acts as its own display. Apple calls it Dynamic Island, and it truly is dynamic. The feature blends the double cutout notch at the top of the phone with software additions that let it display controls, navigation directions, music controls, or even sports scores. If that doesn't sound maxed out enough, the new cameras will. Apple is finally introducing high-resolution sensors, and the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max both have new 48 megapixel sensors that are capable of even better low-light photography. Videography fans will also appreciate ProRAW support at 48 megapixels for an incredible amount of detail. The updated camera sensor also allows Apple to include a new 2x zoom mode that serves as a middle step between the default camera and 3x telephoto zoom lens. But that's not it. There is also new LED flash that uses a combination of 9 LEDs that can change their pattern based on lens being used for optimal lighting. Powering all of this is an A16 Bionic chipset. While the iPhone 14 keeps the A15 for another year, the A16 Bionic brings an even higher leap in performance. Of course, the phone packs the exact same cellular connectivity features and satellite-based location sharing and emergency SOS abilities as the regular iPhone 14. And yes, like every year, the iPhone 14 Pro too gets a new shade. The color of the year is purple, and you get a range of 4 shades, including the already mentioned deep purple, silver, gold, and space black.
All right, you saw what we did out there. Now let's talk and analyze this a bit. So once again, good stuff in this one. 5 or 6 new things in this. The new colors are great. The 48 megapixel sensor is great. Though, of course, you're not really going to use that 48 megapixel sensor for more normal people, everyday people. You're not going to be shooting in Pro RAW and all of that. But still, it's there if you really need it. A good amount of changes in terms of the sensor is bigger. The notch, which, usually would be an ugly pill-shaped black little area, now has become a feature, which I think is absolutely amazing. The dynamic island is a very interesting thing. Of course, Apple gives their own names to most things, but here it's actually, they've taken an ugly black pill-shaped area, which is really obtrusive on the screen, and made it into a feature which I think is very, very intelligent. So quite a few things in this phone that are actually very, very nice, better battery life and all of those things. But again, the price point in India now, 10,000 rupees more for each. You're going to be spending 1,30,000 and 1,40,000 rupees for these two phones. I think they've turned out to be very expensive with very less really to look at in terms of giant, mega big jumps that these phones have done. Okay, from the phones now, let's move on to the AirPods Pro 2. A lot of people have been waiting for this one. It's been 3 years in the making. I don't know how Apple took 3 years to come up with something that they've been so successful with. But again, let me give you an analysis right after I tell you what I actually did on the floor of the launch. The AirPods Pro 2. Now, again, the case remains the same, but the case now gets a speaker that is built in. So you lose this in a sofa or a cushion somewhere, you can find it because the speaker can now get you to track it. A personalized spatial audio, adaptive transparency now comes in, which I think is an absolutely fantastic feature. Suppose you're out, the noise is too much, somebody's drilling something in. This can actually adapt and make sure that your ears are not absolutely shattered because of transparency mode. Other things that I really love in this is the fact that the noise cancellation, because of the H2 chip, is now become 2x and XS. Extra small little tip also comes in out here. Touch control for volume. So lots and lots of new things that have come in out here.
If all the upgrades sound like music to your ears, you are in for a surprise. Apple has also introduced a brand new pair of AirPods. The freshly renewed AirPods Pro join Apple's growing lineup of accessories and includes a new H2 chip that enables 2 times better noise cancellation and 6 hours of battery life on a single charge. Apple has also upgraded the sound drivers, and combined with spatial audio, you can expect an incredible music listening experience. The lure of new iPhone can be powerful, and if you're already considering upgrading, Apple has already announced India prices for the new devices. The iPhone 14 is priced in India at the same 79,900 rupees as the iPhone 13. To get the plus size model, you can expect to pay an extra 10,000 for a total of 89,900 rupees. The iPhone 14 Pro gets a price just to 1,29,900 rupees, and for the ultimate maxed out experience, the iPhone 14 Pro Max starts at 1,39,900 rupees. Finally, the brand new AirPods Pro will run you 26,900 rupees. So, we will review the new iPhones and the AirPods Pro soon on Cellguru.
Now let's move on to our review of a Redmi phone.
Xiaomi has been ruling the roost with its budget segment phones for a while now. Its latest entrant, the Redmi 11 Prime 5G, comes as the successor to the Redmi 10 Prime launched last year. Xiaomi has made some considerable improvements to the 11 Prime 5G as compared to the 2021 model. But with these refinements, does Xiaomi have a winner in the under 20K segment? We find out in our review. The 11 Prime 5G looks pretty similar to the 10 Prime. It is no doubt a good looking phone, and our meadow green variant did look different in the midst of blues and blacks. The phone is made out of plastic and it might not look like the most premium design, but it does not look cheap either. The textured back has a matte finish which keeps fingerprint smudges at bay. The power button on the side doubles up as the fingerprint scanner, which works pretty well. The phone also comes with a 3.5mm jack on the top. The Redmi 11 Prime 5G weighs 200 grams and is a big phone. It does get difficult to use the phone with one hand. Coming to the display of the 11 Prime 5G, it sports a 6.58-inch Full HD Plus display with a refresh rate of 90Hz. It also supports adaptive sync, which means that according to the content you're watching, the refresh rate will automatically adjust. However, the maximum that it will go up to is 90Hz. As with the refresh rate, it was a smooth experience while scrolling social media and other apps. But we would have liked to see 120Hz as provided by the competition in the same segment. We did miss the vibrancy and color reproduction that comes with an AMOLED display. It comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. It was disappointing to see that Xiaomi had not used the latest Gorilla Glass. The Redmi 11 Prime 5G is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 700 chipset. It is a powerful chipset for a budget segment. The apps were quick to load and it could easily handle multi-tab browsing, social media browsing and multitasking. Where it struggled was playing games. The device is not able to support graphics-heavy games such as Call of Duty Mobile. But then again, Xiaomi is not marketing this as a gaming device. Casual gaming like Subway Surfer was a breeze. The phone did not heat up and we did not notice any lags or jitters. Cameras are all the rage right now. The Redmi 11 Prime 5G comes with a dual camera setup. It has a 50MP primary lens and a 2MP depth sensor. The shots taken from the 50MP primary lens are pretty decent. There are enough details in the shot, however, it lacks the dynamic range. The camera slightly oversaturates the images. The night mode of the camera is average and is nothing to write home about. The 2MP depth sensor produces some decent results. With the 8MP front camera, we felt that the selfies looked slightly washed out. The good part is that the camera does not offer AI filters and you can manually edit photos as per your liking. The 11 Prime 5G comes with a 5000 mAh battery. With a full charge, the phone can easily last you up to a day with normal usage. It comes with a 22.5 watt fast charger and can charge your phone in around 2 hours. Price starting at Rs 13,999 for the 4GB and 64GB variant and Rs 15,999 for the 6GB and 128GB variant. Xiaomi has got the basics right. It is delivering a decent experience along with 5G connectivity. So, should you get it? If you're looking for a 5G phone under 20k, there are other options in the market that deliver better performance. But if you're looking for a Xiaomi phone with 5G, you can look at this.
Let's take a quick break right now on the Sale Guru Show. When we come back, lots more happening. And now let's move on to a comparison that a lot of people have been asking for. On paper, all three sound a little bit different, but in terms of the price point and everything else, these are three phones that really compete with each other. The Nothing Phone 1, which has really made a lot of headlines. The Vivo V25 Pro versus the OnePlus 10R. Now, all three are great phones. I've reviewed them here. I've called each of them one of the best in their category. But within the three, which is the best? That's what we're about to find out.
Specs, design, cameras, charging speeds, battery life and price. A perfect phone is the balance of all of these and more. Hundreds of phones are released yearly, but only the best can balance it out. Between Vivo's focus on design, OnePlus and its ripping charging speeds, and the Nothing Phone 1's all-around uniqueness, the current crop of premium mid-rangers have something for everyone. But what if you had to choose one? What would you pick? Well, we are going to make it easier. Design is a very personal choice, but the Vivo V25 Pro and Nothing Phone 1 make it clear that turning heads was key to the design process. The Vivo V25 Pro employs a mix of Scott glass on the front and color-changing AG glass at the back for a unique twist on a known formula. Meanwhile, the OnePlus 10R plays it safe with a design that combines a series of vertical lines and a clean area as well as a large camera sensing housing. But the Nothing Phone 1 kicks it up a notch by not showing the actual components. A series of plates create an effect like an art installation that is further embellished by strips of both aesthetic and practical LEDs. You see the LED lights glow in a series of combinations to act as notifications, music equalizers, and even to show charging status. All three phones have stellar displays that are more than usable in bright light and include 120Hz refresh rates. However, if you need the absolute best brightness levels, the Nothing Phone 1 isn't going to cut it. So how's the performance? Powered by a MediaTek Dimensity 1300 chipset, the Vivo V25 Pro strikes an excellent middle ground in ample performance for gaming and everyday use without being a scorcher. The OnePlus 10R, on the other hand, gives you all-out speed with a Dimensity 8100 Max chipset. The Nothing Phone 1 is the odd one out here. While on the topic of performance, all three phones are capable of all-day use depending on your kind of use. However, the 4830 mAh battery on the Vivo V25 Pro gives it a noticeable edge over the 4500 mAh cells on the OnePlus and Nothing. Charging speeds are also interesting. The Vivo V25 Pro offers 66 watt charging for a full charging time of about 45 minutes. The OnePlus 10R roars ahead with 150 watt charging speeds that have you ready to go in 17 minutes flat. Nothing has, well, nothing exciting to offer here. Charging tops off at just 33 watt. But hey, at least you get wireless charging support unlike the other two contenders. Vivo is well known for its camera prowess, and the company's experience in tuning the cameras for optimal optics shows in the 64 megapixel primary camera. Combined with OIS the phone can produce high-quality, detailed images in most lighting conditions. The 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera isn't too bad either, though I doubt you'll want to use the macro sensor much. On the other hand, the OnePlus 10R's 50-megapixel camera isn't as well optimized. Images are okay to look at on the screen, but don't hold up too well when blown up. The 8-megapixel ultra-wide sensor is rather disappointing too in its low resolution. Finally, there is a 2-megapixel macro camera, but you already know how that goes. The 50-megapixel primary camera is surprisingly capable for a first-time smartphone brand, though low-light imaging isn't quite the best in class. On the other hand, the 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera can capture richly detailed shots that are well exposed and saturated. Feeling a bit confused about picking the best option still? Let's summarize. If you want a phone that is perhaps the most unique option on the market and doesn't really care too much about gaming, the Nothing Phone 1 is a solid bet. On the opposite end is the OnePlus 10R, focusing on all-out speed and all-out charging speeds. However, the rest of the package doesn't live up to the challenge. This brings us to the Vivo V25 Pro. With its innovative yet traditional design and thoughtful mix of performance and cameras, the Vivo V25 Pro is well positioned to be the premium mid-range smartphone of choice for the most.
That then was the Cell Guru show for this week. This is Rajiv Makhni saying goodbye to you from Apple Park here in USA. I shall be back in India very soon. See you then.